Stack views. Auto layout is a very powerful technology, but with that power comes complexity. Laying out an interface will often need a lot of constraints, and it can be difficult to create dynamic interfaces due to the need to constantly add and remove constraints. Interfaces that have a linear layout are great candidates for using a stack view. A stack view is an instance of UI stack view that allows you to create a vertical or horizontal layout that is easy to lay out and manages most of the constraints that you would typically have to manage yourself. Perhaps best of all, you are able to nest stack views within another stack views, which allows you to create truly amazing interfaces in a fraction of the time. In this chapter, you are going to continue working on HomePointer to create an interface for displaying the details of a specific item. The interface that you create will consist of multiple nested stack views, both vertical and horizontal. Using UI stack view, open your HomePointer project and then open main.storyboard. Drag a new view controller from the object library onto the canvas. Drag a vertical stack view from the object library onto the view for the view controller. Add constraints to the stack view. Now, drag 4 instances of UI label from the object library onto the stack view. From top to bottom, give these labels the text, name, serial, value, and date created. You can see a problem right away. The labels all have a red border, including an auto layout problem. And there is a warning that some views are vertically ambiguous. There are 2 ways you can fix this issue: by using auto layout or by using a property on the stack view. Stack view distribution. Let's work through the stack view solution. Stack views have a number of properties that determine how their content is laid out. Select the stack view, either on the canvas or using the document outline. Open its Attributes Inspector and find the section at the top labeled Stack View. One of the properties that determines how the content is laid out is the distribution property. Currently, it is set to fill, which lets the views lay out their content based on their intrinsic content size. Change the value to fill equally. This will resize the labels so that they all have the same height, ignoring the intrinsic content size. Be sure to read the documentation for the other distribution values that a stack view can have. Change the distribution of the stack view back to fill. This is the value you will want to going forward in this chapter. Nested stack views. One of the most powerful features of stack views is that they can be nested within one another. You will use this to nest horizontal stack views within the larger vertical stack view. The top 3 labels will have a text field next to them that displays the corresponding value for the item and will also allow the user to edit that value. Select the name label on the canvas. Tap the Embedded In icon and click Stack View on the pop-up menu. This will embed the selected view in a stack view. Select the new stack view and open its Attributes Inspector. Change the axis to horizontal. Now, drag a text field from the object library to the right of the name label. Repeat these steps for the serial and value labels. Open the size inspector for the text field and set its horizontal content compression resistance priority to 749. Setting the label's horizontal content compression resistant priority less than the text fields can ensure that the text field's text will be truncated if necessary, rather than the label. Control drag from navigation controller to view controller and set the view controller as root view controller. Build and run the application. Enter two very long strings in text field serial and value. As you see, the text field text is truncated rather than the label. To see the effect of the content compression resistance priority, change the horizontal priority value of the serial text field to 751. Build and run the application again. Enter the two long strings to test. You see the serial text field is truncated. After testing, set the priority value of serial text field back to 749. Stack view spacing. Stack views allow you to custom the spacing between them. Select the horizontal stack view and open its attributes inspector. Change the spacing to be the user standard value. Build and run the application. Notice that the text field shrinks to accommodate the spacing because it is less resistant to compression than the label. Now fix all the labels and text fields. Select the vertical stack view, open its attributes inspector, and update the spacing to be user standard value. Then select the DateCreate label, open its attributes inspector, and change the alignment to be centered. To make the text fields align, you will add leading edge constraints between the three text fields. Let's open the preview and choose double-line pseudo language to make sure the alignment works for multiple languages. Control drag from the name text field to the serial text field and select leading. Then do the same for serial text field and the value text field. Build and run the application. Try some input to test the alignment. Segues. Most of iOS applications have a number of view controllers that the users navigate between. Storyboards allow you to set up this interaction as segues without having to write code. Let's start with a show segue. A show segue displays the view controller depending on the context in which it is displayed. The segue will be between the table view controller and the new view controller. The action items will be the table view cells. Typing a cell will show the view controller. In main.storyboard, select the item cell prototype cell on the item view controller. Control drag from the cell to the new view controller that you set up in the previous section. A black panel will appear that lists the possible styles for this segue. Select Show from the Section Segue section. Now, control drag from navigation controller to item view controller and set the item view controller as root view controller. Build and run the application. Type a cell and the new view controller will slide in from the right of the screen. Hooking up the content. To display the information for the selected item, you will need to create a new UI view controller subclass. Create a new Swift file and name it Detail View Controller. Open Detail View Controller.swift and declare a new UI View Controller subclass named Detail View Controller. With Detail View Controller.swift open, Option-click on Main.storyboard in the project navigator. This will open the file in the Assistant Editor right next to Detail View Controller.swift before you connect the outlines. You need to tell the Detail interface that it should be associated with the Detail View Controller. Select the View Controller on the canvas and open its Identity Inspector. Change the class to be Detail View Controller. The three instances of UI text field and the bottom instance of UI label will be outlined in Detail View Controller. Ctrl-drag from the UI text field next to the name label to the top of Detail View Controller.swift. Let go and a pop-up window will appear. Enter name field into the name field. Make sure the storage is set to strong and click Connect. This will create an IB outline property of UI text field named name field in Detail View Controller. In addition, this UI text field is already connected to the name field outline of the Detail View Controller. You can verify this by Ctrl-clicking on the Detail View Controller to see the connections. 2 birds, 1 stone. Create other 3 outlines the same way and name them. With the connections made, you can close the Assistant Editor and return to viewing just Detail View Controller.swift. In Detail View Controller.swift, add a property for an item instance and override view will appear to set up the interface. Add an instance of number formatter and date formatter to the Detail View Controller. Use these formatters in view will appear to format the value in dollars and date created. Passing data around. Open Main.storyboard again. Select Show Segue by clicking on the row between the 2 view controllers and open the Attributes Inspector. For the identifier, enter Show Item. With your segue identified, you can now pass your item instances around. Open Items View Controller.swift and implement Prepare method. The UI storyboard segue gives you the 3 pieces of information: the source view controller, the destination view controller, and the identifier of the segue. The identifier lets you differentiate segues as you used in the switch statements. Because the segue's identifier is an optional string, you include a question mark after the case pattern. The default block uses the precondition failure function to catch any unexpected segue identifiers and crash the application. Build and run the application. Tap on a row and the Detail View Controller will slide on screen, displaying the details for that item. Challenge: More stack views. Quiz and word trotters are good candidates for using stack views. Update both of these applications to use UI Stack View. See you next time.